So if you guys didn't know already, Vegeta, Teen Gohan, those characters really get my attention, and I was looking through my notifications just now on Twitter, which if you aren't following me on, the link will be down below, and I came across the homie Dark Wolf recommending me a new fan manga. New to me, I should say, I guess, at least because the more I looked into this, it's been really a few months now, but nonetheless, thank you Dark Wolf for putting me onto this because this is exactly the type of thing that I love covering. The Right Fiction, author of this fan manga called Dragon Ball Z Golden Age, has put together quite an impressive project that I'm happy to share with you guys today. To dive into this story properly, however, we kinda have to go to another time. A time before Ultra Ego, a time before all of these gods and angels just sort of chilling on Earth. A point in time actually where Gohan was the strongest warrior protecting the Earth. To be even more specific, to begin our first chapter of Dragon Ball Z Golden Age, we'll pick up at the end of the Cell games, after Cell's resurrection and the hit on Trunks. Gohan's power has been raging ever since his transformation, but with every passing moment, he would gain more precise control. Before we do get started, I do want to say thanks again to Dark Wolf for putting me onto this, and to The Right Fiction for aiming for a different time period completely with this piece. Links to both their Twitter and their Patreon where you can find this fan manga will be down below in the description box, so be sure to go check them out as well, guys. Be sure to have those notifications turned on to never miss an upload as soon as they go live, and if you have been enjoying the anime content recently, consider leaving a like on this video as well. Be sure to follow on both Twitch and Twitter to stay up with me and all Dragon Ball and anime related content, guys. But without further ado, two sworn enemies stare each other down as we enter the very early stages of Dragon Ball Z Golden Age. This is a story of the strongest warrior of his time, ascending and achieving even more than we ever saw in the original series. The fight that never happened, and also the fight that changed the fate of Gohan forever. If you're really as powerful as you say, then bring it on, Gohan says, taunting Cell in the final moments of the Cell games. I want to see how strong you really become. Such confidence, Cell responds. I doubt you know what you're truly up against this round, little man. This is the point at which Vegeta finally turns around and it sinks in what just happened to his son Trunks. One of my personal favorite moments in DBZ. This is when Gohan and Cell charge at one another and the final battle truly begins between these two, clashing at speeds unseen by the Z Fighters up until this point. The force at which these two collide sends shockwaves across the battlefield. This is when Gohan turns it up a notch and begins barraging Cell with a plethora of attacks, pushing him back even now. Although these two may seem even in speed and power right now, it quickly becomes apparent who truly has the upper hand, as Gohan remains the aggressor for quite a while now. He's even able to dodge Cell's attacks and keep distance when necessary at a moment's notice, showing the true potential we always knew he had. So he still has some fight left in him after all, Cell says. Alright then, brat. Let's see what else you've got. The two charge at each other once again, causing another massive shockwave across the landscape, tearing the earth underneath to shreds in the process. As the two clash at high speeds, their battle is barely traceable as they teleport from one place to another as quickly as they did the last. Gohan, Piccolo says, as he and the others spectate in pure amazement at who they always knew was strong. But this display from Gohan is absolutely unheard of. Come on, kid, Piccolo continues. I know you can beat him. Cell goes on to toss a flurry of Destructo Discs at Gohan, to which Gohan easily weaves through all of these as he closes the distance between he and Cell, but as they engage again, Cell lands a swift knee to the gut that seems to stun Gohan until he takes a closer look. The young Saiyan has easily countered Cell once again, as he says, I've taken enough knees to the gut to know when they're coming. Nice try though. He hits Cell with a devastating uppercut and kicks him across the battlefield again. Cell stops himself and then fires a death beam at Gohan, which he easily maneuvers around and flies over. This panel of interactions between the two throughout the battle is pretty cool to me, with so many simultaneous collisions and interactions going on at what looks like the same time. Cell and Gohan continue to trade punches until eventually creating distance and resetting again, as we get a glimpse at their own thoughts of this battle so far. "It looks like you've gotten a bit stronger than before," Gohan says arrogantly. "A bit," Cell replies. "It seems to me that you need to learn your place in the pecking order." Cell fires 2 eye beams that Gohan dodges, but they home in on him and continue to follow him as he flies off into the sky. Eventually, he just turns around and deflects them away, but this is when Cell grabs him by the ankle somehow, and as Gohan looks down behind him, he's shocked only to find that Cell is using one of the Namekian abilities and has extended his arm in order to reach into the air. Cell slams Gohan to the ground violently and then once more, until finally sending him flying into a cliffside. "Don't you get it yet, kid?" Cell yells. "There's no way your feeble Saiyan powers can possibly compare to mine. I was specifically handcrafted to kill you and every other living being in existence." He begins charging an absurd amount of energy in his hand until finally, declaring himself the perfect weapon, Cell ignites the ground beneath Gohan, causing a nuclear-level explosion before him that can be seen from space. Gohan, of course, is able to evade the attack just in time, but the battle is nearing its end for one of these fighters as Cell commends him for his persistence. Gohan soars above his opponent, placing his hands above his head as it looks like he's about to fire a Masenko, but Cell is prepared. "As if I'd let such an obvious attack hit me," Cell says. "Why don't you show me something new?" He then fires another beam at Gohan that nearly pierces directly through his skull, but he's narrowly able to evade it. Gohan then fires an absolutely massive Super Masenko at Cell that illuminates the entire wasteland. This single attack engulfs Cell and everything nearby, as it doesn't seem to me that anything could have survived something of that scale. With glaring injuries now though, Cell is able to somehow weasel away from death once more, as Gohan's attack continues to whittle away at the android's persistence. "This isn't going to be the same as last time, Cell. I'm not pulling any more punches against you," Gohan declares. "Still think you have the upper hand, huh?" Cell responds. "I'll show you, brat." The two warriors collide once again, this time meeting with a vicious headbutt. Piccolo and the others are in awe at the speed at which these two move, as he says that it's impossible to even see them. Both of them have gotten even faster somehow, he continues. This is when the battle threatens to come straight to the spectators as Cell attempts to attack Piccolo, only to be stopped in his tracks by Gohan. "I don't think so. You won't touch them again," Gohan says, as he then sends Cell soaring into the atmosphere for trying to ambush his friends again after the damage he's already done to Trunks. In Otherworld, this is the first point in the story where we've been able to see Goku after his sacrifice that seemed to have been in vain, since Cell easily restored himself thanks to his nucleus remaining intact. "Wow, this fight is on a whole nother level," Goku says to King Kai. "Look at him go." "You can say that again," King Kai replies. "Your son is doing really well. His techniques and timing are improving, and it seems he's found a good rhythm with his movements. He's in full control." "Yeah," Goku replies. "I think he's finally gotten a handle on this newfound power and form now. I can't believe it. My son. That's him." "It's a lot different being on this side of things for a change, huh?" King Kai says. "Yeah," Goku replies. "Though I always counted on my friends to hold the line whenever I was out of commission. This is the first time I've ever taken a back seat in the final battle though." Now that Gohan has come into his own, "I know everything will be alright," Goku says. King Kai tells him not to get too comfortable, however, because as long as Cell is still alive, the Earth and the entire universe are at risk. "What?" Goku says. "You think Gohan can't win? Because I know he will." Well, King Kai replies, Unless your son is still holding back a great deal of power, he can still beat Cell, but it's gonna be a close one, he warns. Things in this battle, even up to this point, have veered far from what we know of the Cell games, and they are beginning to look increasingly in Gohan's favor by the second. It seems this is just the beginning though, because although the outcome of this battle may be different, these changes set the table for the entire course of the rest of their lives to be altered entirely. In our next coverage of Dragon Ball Z Golden Age, Gohan will show you the true power he possessed all the way back then, but wasn't quite able to master until many years later. Before we do get out of here though guys, I do have one more question. Down below in the comments, let me know what you guys thought of this iconic fight taking a completely different turn and the direction Gohan may be about to go when the most important fight of his life changes the course of history.